Breaking news now on Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
And now at 6, breaking news in Hartford, where police say someone was just injured in a carjacking. Thanks for joining us on Fox 61. I'm Jamel Johnson.
And I'm Bridgeport. Glad you're with us tonight. Police say it happened on Capitol Avenue in Hartford. They say the victim was taken to a nearby hospital, and we don't know the extent of their injuries right now. The scene is cleared. No one is in custody. And as we learn more, we'll continue to update you.
Today, the legal team for Kimberly Sullivan, the woman who's accused of holding her stepson captive for more than 2 decades, responded to the stepson's first public statement. The man, who goes by S, touched on many topics in his statement from yesterday, including what he's gone through, how he's doing now, and how he's looking ahead to the future. This afternoon, Fox 61 received a statement from Sullivan's lawyer reacting to S. It reads in part, quote, "The worst thing that can happen to a human being in this life is to be the victim of a heinous crime. Nearly its equivalent is the horror of being falsely accused. It makes the accused an object of hate who is disparaged and cast from society. It provokes a lynch mob mentality." A part of the stepson's multi-paragraph statement says, quote, "Much has already been said that tells part of the story of the abuse I endured. Someday, perhaps, my whole story will be told. I ask everyone involved in my story to fully cooperate with the authorities who are helping me seek justice for these crimes," end quote.
Well, an unexpected turn of events in the murder trial of Jose Morales. 8 days in, Morales himself took the witness stand.
He is accused of killing his girlfriend, Christine Holloway, in 2019. Fox 61's Alicia Hercules is in Milford with more on Morales' testimony.
Jose Morales took the stand on day 8 of his trial, testifying that he smoked marijuana with PCP before entering the home he shared with Christine Holloway.
I drove to my parents' house in New Haven. I parked the Nissan, jumped into my...
Jose Morales says on November 29th, he unintentionally smoked marijuana that had PCP in it while driving with his friend Hector. Morales said he believed it was just marijuana. Later that night, Morales says his friend gave him 2 bags of PCP before driving back to Ansonia, where he shared an apartment with Holloway. He says he and Holloway stayed inside their apartment for the entire day on November 30th. At around midnight on December 1st, Morales says he began craving PCP.
I went outside to smoke. It was around 1 o'clock in the morning. And probably 10 minutes. I was out there for like 10, 15 minutes smoking. And I smoked the whole blunt.
Morales said he later stumbled into the house and went to the bathroom.
Oriented, everything got blurry. I couldn't see clear. I was stumbling. Sort of like, it's like taking a gallon of vodka and drinking it in one shot.
Holloway's body was discovered on December 2nd in 2019. The defense's second witness, Dr. Eric Fraser, spoke about how potential PCP use can affect the brain.
So PCP affects the auditory ability, essentially like I was describing before. It causes hallucinations, meaning hearing things that aren't real, that aren't actually present in that moment. So that is an example of a break with reality. Reality is what's happening in front of you.
However, the prosecution scrutinized Dr. Fraser's expertise on the topic of PCP. They said the effects of PCP, including muscle rigidity, hallucinations, and dissociative amnesia, doesn't necessarily happen to everyone who uses PCP.
Doesn't mean that that happens to every single person every single time. It depends on the dosage and the quantity used, or if it's being used effectively or misused.
Thank you. And that same thing holds true for PCP, doesn't it? What you just said to the end of the question that I asked you, that applies every bit to PCP, doesn't it?
Objection to the form of the question.
Overruled.
Yes, it does apply.
A member of the chief medical examiner's office testified that Holloway had at least 8 blunt force injuries to her head. The prosecution still has to cross-examine Morales Thursday. In Milford, Alicia Hercules, Fox 61.
All right, Alicia, thank you. Let's get a check on the forecast, and we are finally warming up just in time for the Easter weekend.
Yes. Meteorologist Deshaun Robinson is here. Deshaun, how are things looking for these next few days heading into Easter?
Well, we're talking 60s tomorrow and Friday, and then 70s, maybe maybe even some 80s on Saturday. So a nice warm-up as we head into the weekend. Thursday will be a pleasant day, lots of sunshine. Now is the time to get outside and enjoy the weather. Now the weather will be warming up as we head into the weekend, and then we're looking at a very warm Saturday. So we have this high pressure over the Ohio Valley. This will slide in over the next few hours, causing clear skies for our area tonight and also into Thursday. Right now it's a bit cloudy overhead with some low-level clouds. These clouds will clear out over the next few hours. Temperature-wise, our temperatures are holding on to 50 degrees, about 50 right now in Hartford, 50 also in New Haven, and 48 in Chester. The wind is howling, but these windy conditions will subside a bit over the next few hours. However, winds will pick up again as we head into Thursday. Clearing skies tonight, temperatures will fall to near 40 degrees. I'll have more in the forecast coming up. Back to you.
All right, Daishan, we'll check in a bit. Thank you. And new here at 6, a Bridgeport man will spend 20 years behind bars for his role in a violent street gang. 27-year-old Luis Garcia was sentenced today for his involvement with the original North End gang, or ONE, linked to drug trafficking, robbery, and murder crimes. In 2018, Garcia and others killed a man that they mistakenly believed was a rival, then burned the getaway car. The case is part of a sweeping federal crackdown that has led to nearly 50 convictions and helped solve multiple murders across the Bridgeport region.
And now at 6, the Connecticut State Department of Education says they will not sign a federal request for certification form that affirms the state is complying with Title VI.
Title VI is the case that would also include agreeing to eliminate DEI from its programs. The U.S. Department of Education says if a state were to sign the certification form and follow certain regulations, it would continue to receive federal funding. The state argued that it does not need to sign the form to prove its compliance with Title VI and has already affirmed its commitment through other certifying compliances. The U.S. Department of Education has continuously warned that states or education agencies that continue, quote, illegal DEI practices are subject to termination or refusal of federal funding.
Earlier today, Governor Ned Lamont released a statement saying, in part, in Connecticut, we're proud to support the incredible diversity of our schools and work tirelessly to ensure that every child, regardless of background, has access to a quality education and the best opportunity at starting line in life. He continues to add, in part, we plan to continue doing what makes our students, teachers, and schools successful.
We have new details tonight about the motorcycle accident in Southington that we first brought you last night at 10. Police say 22-year-old Joshua Osher near the intersection of Queen and Spring Streets just before 10:30 last night when a sedan attempted to turn into McDonald's, and that's when the collision happened. Osher suffered serious injuries and was taken to a local hospital. Witnesses reported that the motorcycle was traveling erratically in the area prior to that crash, including performing wheelies. The investigation is still ongoing.
And new at 6, Connecticut Attorney General William Tong is leading a 20-state coalition pushing back against chaos at the Social Security Administration. They filed a brief supporting a lawsuit that claims recent layoffs and mismanagement are threatening benefits for millions of Americans. The suit targets acting administration Leland Dudek, and the Department of Government Efficiency, accusing them of gutting essential staff without a clear plan. Tong didn't hold back, warning, quote, do not mess with Social Security. The brief says a federal court to block further actions that could destabilize the agency and put vulnerable Americans at risk.
A budget shortfall for Hartford Public Schools as teachers, families, and board members concerned tonight. The school board is now asking the city to help foot the remaining balance, which is more than $6 million. In a meeting last night, the Board of Ed said it originally projected a $30 million deficit in fiscal year 2026. The board said it was due to higher costs for special education, tuition, transportation, and teachers' salaries. But after some belt tightening, the board says it cut more than $15 million out of its budget. That includes reducing 30 positions within the district and the number of security guards at schools. And when you factor in grants and money the Board of Ed is already set to receive from the city, there is still a $6.7 million deficit the board needs to fill. Members of the Warrior Mothers Parent Committee say the cuts the board has already made have been devastating.
It is shameful that our city has not increased the education budget for 10 years. This causes cuts to school services and it hurts our students. That is clear. We are already hearing stories about this year's cuts and how they're going to impact students. But just as much as the cuts hurt our students, they also hurt our community.
The city hasn't raised their education budget in a decade. A few members of the Board of Ed said they need to be frank with the community about this and some of the cuts that could be on the horizon, which include sports potentially for middle schools. Hartford Public Schools Superintendent Dr. Leslie Torres Rodriguez says they are focused right now on reductions that don't impact direct classroom instruction. She also says the school board will do whatever they can to find those additional funds. A lot of people weighing in over this, like Mayor Aruna Arulampalam from Hartford. He released a statement after the news, reading in part, quote, "The city of Hartford remains committed to prioritizing education and ensuring our students and teachers have the resources they need to succeed." The commitment includes the additional $3 million in funding for the Hartford Board of Education announced in March, continued collaboration with our state leaders to identify long-term solutions, and a focus on advancing the recommendations put forward by the Hartford Blue Ribbon Commission on Education.